Good evening, boys and girls, ladies and gents. It's Corey Wesley from Milton West Art. I am the founder and the artist behind the Unapologetic Faces collection or series. And I thought it would be fun. You can see the first image that I'm going to talk about is that one. It's called Liberated Tears. And I thought it would be interesting to share with you what was the inspiration behind it because a lot of people, when they look at it, and I'm going to put a picture right here so you can see it, it's a 24 by 36 frame image. All of my images are one of a kind, they're exclusive. They come with a certificate of authenticity and signed by me. There's only one copy, obviously. I have them the ones in my house because it's marketing, promo, and I stipulate that in the website as far as why I have the pieces, but they're not mass produced. They're one of a kind. And this Liberated Tears is a very emotional piece for me. And the reason why I created it was out of, when you have family members that don't take accountability, and we're so taught in our lives to um, respect our elders and, I mean, a certain generation, and that things are left unsaid, right? And that sometimes your elders, although I give them grace for being the best, doing the best that they could possibly do, right? But at a certain point, being over 50 now, I realize that some things being left unsaid creates not trauma, but anxiety, frustration, anger, internalized. And then if you internalize certain things within yourself, you become sick. You don't really understand that the damage it's doing to you internally. And the fear of speaking up to someone who you respect, admire, an elder in your family or a friend, it can be very challenging. And I, at one point, have a family member who doesn't understand the effects and the things that she does. It's like her anger of certain behaviors of someone in our family, she is unable to let go, and she harbors them, and she doesn't understand how her actions create a domino effect of certain things. And I believe that, this psyche of believing that, oh, you're the child, I'm the adult, still plays a part in our lives when we're over 50. I understand respecting your elder to a certain extent, but I don't believe that we should take bad behaviors and we should accept them. That just because they're our elder does not grant them full respect. If they're not respecting you, they're not listening to you, they're not taking accountability. So in a situation in my life recently, a couple of months ago, when I created this piece, I had reached a point where I was no longer going to accept bad behavior. And also, I was not going to allow someone to hold on, guys. I gotta pause for a second. I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry about that. I had my laptop has to be plugged in when I'm recording because it's saying the quality. So I was getting nervous. It was going to get cut off. But getting back to what I was sharing with you is that you don't have to take someone's bad behavior. And I had reached this point that I was going to speak up. I was finally going to be able to speak up. And I wanted to resolve some, and this is where I say things left unsaid often cause turmoil inside, and they build up and build up and build up. And I went off on this family member, and I don't regret it because she did exactly what I knew she would do. She focused solely on my reaction, that she did not take accountability of what caused the reaction. And the gaslighting began. And I reached the point that I was okay to let this family member go. And if, I don't want to say that I seek out never speaking to this person ever again, but I was so liberated and felt free to let my anxiety, that past things, I wanted to resolve it, her behavior. And also, when you know someone's doing something, like she told me she was staying at my house, like she lives out of town, and told me, she didn't ask me. She told me when I asked her, was she staying at my house weeks before she arrived, said no. And because her son did not answer the phone, she then had no other choice to stay at my home. And she made me feel like, oh, that was a decision she just made. Well, you don't know my life. That's not respecting me, one. And I just felt also that in my release, I was able to dissect and clearly see that sometimes family members don't always have your best interest. And how she attacked me and her words, although I was upset, she never truly understood or took accountability. It was more on her focus on my reaction and feeling disrespected, when I felt disrespected many times over because I was taught to respect my elders. And so, what I will say in this context is that when I created this art piece, the white tears were pure. It was the freedom. And so when people see some of my pieces, and I struggle with sharing where I was when I created it, because I want people to see their own, I want to see their own messaging. I want them to take away from my art as is for themselves. But I thought, a lot of people always are asking me about my art. This one is framed. I have other arts that I'll talk about in another video. I'll probably do this once a week, talk about the pieces that I have, to just give some context and some background as to why I created it, what was happening, what maybe transpired. But it was more or less that when you see it, white tears, it was pure. And I wanted it to be the blackness, the darkness of the person, because it was the blackness, the darkness of never being able to speak up of how I felt, or the treatment that I felt I was receiving. And so it, the whiteness is it was tears, but it wasn't tears of sadness. It was tears of happiness, because it was pure, because I felt relieved and I felt free. And then the red lips are the love. It was that I was trying to fix it. But because she was gaslighting, because the words that I might have been speaking may have been received harshly, and maybe I didn't have the right tone. I take accountability for that. But it was the red is the love that I was trying to convey to her, that this is what you're doing, and don't do this. Stop. But it didn't end that way. But because I felt so free, that when she departed, I felt so like If she removes herself from my life, I was okay with it. And so, Liberated Tears is basically that's the story behind it. I hope that gives you a little background of the art piece from Milton West Art, and the reason why I just give people a little bit more background. Milton West Art is a combination of my middle name and my grandfather's middle name. My grandfather's middle name was Milton. He was very important to me. He introduced graffiti. He was a conductor, one of the first African American conductors in New York, out of several, but one of. And I was very proud of him. And he taught me shared stories about the graffiti, and our conversations about art is why I love art so much. And even though I'm not a natural born artist, when digital art came about and I began to learn how to manipulate art and photos and pictures and different techniques, I then began to love art even more. And so I wanted to honor my grandfather. And that's why it's called Milton West. My middle name is Wesley. So I came. Milton Wesley didn't sound right. So Milton West Art is the company where I sell my art. But I am Corey Wesley, the artist. Do you like my logo? Yes. And the reason why I use faces as a background or just an understanding of why I use faces is because a lot of people used to say I was expressive. And I used to take it as a negative. They used to say, "Oh, I can read your face. Oh my God, you're so extra. Oh my God, you're so animated." And our faces tell stories. Our faces are they're badges of honor. And so you can tell when someone is suffering, but also our faces can be misconstrued for other messaging. Just like in the story of Liberated Tears, it's not sadness, it's actually happiness. So that's a little bit background. Check out my website, head over to miltonwesart.com. Let me know what you think. Again, these are one of a kind. And I hope you enjoy this segment of Unapologetic Faces, the mystery behind each art piece. Have a great day. Remember to stay blessed because you're already blessed. And trust yourself, believe in yourself, and love yourself. Ciao. Until next time.